Hi, my name is Laura. I am an information architect and UX designer. And scoping a project can be pretty daunting. And I know that one of the projects that I worked on with Jose and Christian, the way that they went about that was to only bid for the discovery at first and not the whole entire project. So I'm wondering if the rest of you do that too. What does that look like? And what are the different steps? You have discovery, design, and build, obviously.
Brilliant question. Thank you, Laura. That's a brilliant question. So the question is, how do you deal with this? Do you do discovery to figure out the scope of the project and charge people for that? And if so, how? Scott, do you want to start with that?
So we do something called agile development, which many of you are probably familiar with. For those of you who aren't, it is basically a methodology to facilitate a more flexible scope. The way we practice it is similar to what Elias said earlier about fixed budget, flexible scope, because let's be honest, clients always have a budget, whether they tell you or not. So for as many projects as we can, we try to employ that type of methodology, and the project gets defined as we go along. So we're actually building and defining kind of simultaneously. Sometimes it's chaotic, but generally we find the result to be better. That said, some clients that we work with, because of organizational restrictions or because of partners we're working with, require a much better defined scope. So if they don't come to us with that scope in the first place, then we do require a discovery process. Sometimes, if it's a very small project, we're able to do it as part of the sales process. But for most of them, and more, because we're working on bigger projects, it's a multi-week process that we must charge for.
Thank you so much, Scott. How do you do discovery, Heather?
I would say if you can ever convince someone to pay you to do discovery without having to estimate the whole thing out, absolutely go that route, because you just don't know enough often. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about, inaccuracy in estimates. You are trying to estimate something where you really have 10% of the details that you really need. So any time that you can convince them to kick off with a paid discovery and then get to estimates for subsequent stages later, absolutely. Sometimes it's also safe to even take it through design. So often saying we'll do discovery and design, because during design you're going to come up with that feature set, and you can go through a feature prioritization exercise, and then use that feature prioritization to talk together about what needs to be in that product, and say, okay, now that we've got that, here's your top features. That's X amount of dollars, and you can also help them plan out, following releases as budget frees up or as time is available. So I think. If you can get that, absolutely go for it every time. And if not, try and make the estimates for later stages ranges so that you're not as locked into we're going to do it for exactly this amount, but say, look, based on our previous experience and what we know right now, we think you're looking at a range between this and this. But we really need to go through these stages before we can commit to that.
Just breaking the project into little pieces and also giving ranges for the future pieces.
Yeah.
And as a buyer, if you're asking a vendor to give you prices for the entire thing up front without a discovery, like I said, the variability is going to be great, and probably 95 to 99% of the time it's going to be incorrect. You really...
It's going to be incorrect.
Incorrect, sorry. It's better for you as a buyer to do the discovery, try to transfer the knowledge to that team about what you need to be built and how it's going to be built before they give you an actual price. And if your agency isn't... Your agency should know how many meetings it's going to take for them to be able to be confident in the price. If you come to them with really detailed specs and designs, they might be able to say, yeah, okay, I just need a couple meetings to answer some questions, and then I can give you a price. But like Heather's saying, it might be that a 2-week discovery is needed. It might be that we won't give a price for the build until after the design is done. That happens a lot of times as well. And what we've come to realize as an industry, software developers, is that the closer you get to the actual build of the product, that's when your your estimation accuracy goes up. Your estimation accuracy is about 100% the hour before you start building that. And every hour and day you move away from that, you're going to be less and less accurate. So that's the function of the discovery. That's the function of the design. And that's why a lot of us in the industry have come to the conclusion that really we need to be doing agile. We need to be doing the estimation right before we start building, because anything else is just varying degrees of inaccuracy.